lunch or dinner, whatever, but there was no press, and everything said was off the record. Whereas at the White House, everything is covered, everything is on the record, and you are living in a fishbowl. Not only are the Bushes or the President and First Lady, but their staff is as well, because every little detail is scrutinized by the press. And actually, I have a funny story right there. I hadn't thought of this one till I was talking. But we had 30 state dinners during the 4 years Bush was there. And so during our first state dinner, of course, we were terribly nervous about the press and tried very hard to make everything as perfect as possible. And we were worried about the guest list and the menu and the seating and all the things that go into planning a state dinner. And lo and behold, the story in the Washington Post the next day was that one reporter walking up the grand staircase from the ground floor to the grand foyer, that the dinner hasn't even started. You have to get cleared, walk in, go upstairs where you're checked in, and get your table card. They saw a cobweb on the chandelier. And so at least the first 3 or 4 paragraphs were about the cobweb on the chandelier, and why was there one, and why hadn't somebody seen it and cleaned it. And we were just like, we went to all this work, and there's a lot of preparation with flowers and decorating and everything to be just beautiful, and a cobweb. Not even under, it wasn't even part of us. I mean, that was housekeeping, and so we had a couple other housekeeping problems during the 4 years once the door was locked, and there were a few little snafus, but we really got, so that's what I mean by the press being overly investigative and critical of you when you do anything wrong. Sure. So, but working at the White House was just truly a fabulous experience for me. And you just had to pinch yourself every day when you walked in. And even though there were guards and nothing like there is today, it's much tighter security. But even then, there was security, and you just wanted to pinch yourself when you walked in and said, wow, I work here, and this is great fun. So it was pretty much a 9 to 24/7 job. My hours would run about 14 hours a day by the time you got left home and got back down there, even when you weren't entertaining. But we entertained over 40,000 people during the 4 years we were there. And so there's a lot of preparation, as you can imagine. So I thought one of the fun things to start out with telling you about a story with Queen Elizabeth, and I think you have the picture of my meeting the Queen, but prior to meeting her, if you'll turn in the book to page 69, you will see the Queen, and that is at the arrival ceremony. And when there is a state dinner, everybody, the first thing that happens is the guest, whoever the visiting dignitary is, stays across the street at Blair House. That's the official guest house of the White House. And they don't actually sleep in the White House. And so they arrive the night before, and the next morning, with a lot of pomp and circumstance, they come over to the White House.